Okay, so this is a review from, how do I, so
the last video posted, the gorgeous reading and animation of
editing.
The editor is very good. He's a very good editor.
Someone wrote a review on my original post 6 years ago, and I'm not even gonna say it's a review. I'm gonna say someone wrote an entire novel because they got so pissed off at how terrible it was.
Our good friend, JG, decided to leave this excellent critique, this work of art, on the writerscafe.org page.
Writerscafe.org page. So I posted it when I was 15 years old.
Circa December 23rd, 2015.
I had nothing better to do. Christmas Eve.
And our good friend JG had this to say.
What you're doing is telling this story with an outside-in perspective. The viewpoint isn't that of a character living in the story, it's that of a storyteller. Yes, I know you're using I and me, personal pronouns, in place of she and her, but that doesn't magically change telling into showing. All you've done with that change is to place yourself in a wig and makeup I can't read. So as to pretend to be you put yourself in wig and makeup and
so as to be the protagonist at the time after the events in question, recalling them, telling the story, in other words. But when you read a story, is it to learn the details of the plot? To be informed on what happened? Or are you hoping to be entertained by being made to live those events with the protagonist as your avatar? If it's a horror story, is your goal to know that the protagonist feels terror? Or are you hoping the author will terrorize you, make you afraid to turn out the lights?
I'm gonna say right here, right now, when I first saw this comment, I looked Micah dead in the eyes, and I said, he sounds as if he would describe a woman's each individual breast. And boy howdy, we're gonna come back to that.
We're gonna come back to that.
Okay, you're hoping to be made to feel those emotions in parallel with the protagonist. Of course, you want to be entertained, not informed. And my point is that no way in hell can your essay writing and report writing skills we all learn in school do that. They're designed to inform.
It should be noted, for those of you who have seen the original video, hopefully everyone go check out the original video on Maddie Bites YouTube channel. It's a great video.
Yeah.
It's very clearly written by a 15-year-old.
Yeah, no offense to Essie Hinton. I based the book off of The Outsiders.
It's the plot of The Outsiders, just with
different characters, and it is... they don't have names like Ponyboy and Soda Pop. Those are total fangirl names. Anyways, my point being, it was definitely written by a 15-year-old, so JG, screw off.
But I'll come back to that in a moment. First, there's something else of importance. When we tell the story as we were taught from the outside in, we think as the...
Outsiders.
We think as the storyteller, in the progression of events, mostly with a camera viewpoint. And because we do, we dictate the protagonist's actions cinematically. If we need smart at any given... What? If we need smart at any given point, they cooperate and display... What does that mean?
I don't know!
If we need smart... Like, is that a saying? At any given point, they cooperate and display brilliance. If the plot needs them to miss something, their IQ conveniently drops. It's great for us, but makes them look like plot devices.
I don't even understand what he's trying to say.
What he's saying is writers be writing?
Here's the thing, he's like, he clearly has a point he's trying to make, but like, I don't know what that point is.
So what he's saying, that whole sentence could be dropped.
He's like,
when you write a smart character, they act smart. And when you write a dumb character, it makes them seem dumb.
I'm gonna make a person assumption about JG. He saw my writing and it reminded him so much of himself, he like blew a gasket in his head.
I can never think of any situation at any point in my life where I've been like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go down to the comments on this piece of media and leave a 30 million page essay.
We're not even halfway done.
We're less than halfway done.
We're like, I don't even want to say we're a quarter of the way done.
Definitely Definitely.
Man, screw me in the editing. Look at your protagonist's behavior from his viewpoint. He does he's making some valid
That
points.
is the thing. We're not saying JG is wrong. Obviously, the work done by Maddie Bites is not great.
He could have just dropped the last 3 paragraphs and the point still would have come across.
He gets a call from his stepfather. Says his... See, that's not grammatically correct, JG.
He doesn't know how to
He
write
gets a call
either.
and her stepfather... Her? He calls Ricky a her. Talking all this about personal pronouns. He doesn't even remember. He doesn't even remember.
I think he's one of those people who thinks that, like, Jordan is a girl's name. Comment down below if you're a girl and you're named Ricky. We're looking for you.
He gets a call, and her stepfather... her stepfather.
I would have said that Ricky was a girl, like my dress got caught on one of the 3 fences.
We know he read it, because he wrote... This comment, is this comment longer than the story?
I think it
than
is.
The chapter?
Well, I mean, it might be longer than the story. We don't know.
It's just so bizarre. The length of this is so bizarre.
You can't see right now, but I'm like crying.
He gets a call, and her stepfather says her stepfather says his mother. Her stepfather says his mother. Published author JG, who we will get back to.
Technically, I'm also a published author, but you know, in the same way JG is.
I would imagine so. He gets a call, and her stepfather says his mother was injured in an accident. Were that to happen to you, wouldn't you ask what happened? Wouldn't you ask which hospital? Wouldn't you think about asking a neighbor to drive you, or a friend to lend you a bike?
No, he's a lone wolf!
He's a lone wolf, as the text establishes.
And the town is...
It's a small town in the 50s. How many hospitals are there?
Exactly. JG isn't putting himself in Ricky's point of view.
Yeah, JG doesn't even know Ricky.
He doesn't even know Ricky.
Even if you decided to go on foot, you would think about that. And if he doesn't try to solve the problem by looking at the options, how real can he seem? Certainly we're not in his viewpoint.
Yes, we are. I use I and me.
And that's the thing. Clearly JG is a gentleman who thinks a lot. We can tell JG's a guy with deep thoughts. Deep thoughts. And
he knows about ladies' breasts, and he describes each of them individually.
That's slander. That's libel. We haven't read any of his books yet. Let's look at the original text.
No, please. I can't handle it anymore.
Panic swept through me. We're not dealing with a rational human being right here. We are dealing...
It's a panicked, adrenaline-ridden...
15-year-old child!
Yeah, just like me when I wrote the story.
Dark times for a young Maddie. Dark time. Anyway, back to you.
Okay. Of course you would, but he reacts and thinks not at all. Instead, he jumps to the next plot point. Running. Okay, I'm gonna defend 15-year-old Maddie here for a second, which isn't something I do on a normal basis. You're in a crappy part of the neighborhood, and you don't really want to talk to your neighbors, because, like, he mentions, like, the bad neighborhood multiple times. I don't think I would go and be like, oh, let me go ask someone for help. First of all, I'm not an introvert, but I think introverts wouldn't want to go ask someone for help from what I've noticed.
Here's the thing, as the story reads, Ricky leaves running through his house, and within 5 to 10 minutes, he's at the hospital.
Yeah.
If he went to his neighbor's house or a friend's home, I assume Ricky doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, clearly Ricky gets there in good time.
Yeah,
If he wouldn't talk to someone, he'd have to go track him down, be like, hey, could you get... And it's the 50s. He's a greaser. They don't have cars. Do they have cars?
I don't think Ricky has a car.
Ricky doesn't have a car.
Ricky's
He
15.
lives in Rickysville.
He can't
As established by the beautiful map in the original video, which will be out by the time of this, but
special thanks to Micah. You guys have definitely all seen this video.
You've definitely all seen this video, and we've definitely finished editing it. It's 100% done when we're recording this. It's been out. I'm not, it's great.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that far of a run to the nearest, like, at least emergency room.
It's a small town in Idaho.
Idaho.
In the 50s.
I guess if it's a small town in Idaho, there probably wouldn't be a hospital near, but anyways.
Yeah, no, in the 50s, I looked up 50s maps of Idaho. They are small and sparse.
Yeah. Now, he's driven to get to the hospital and running as fast as he can, but you, the narrator, I kill the momentum by leaving him in mid-stride as you explain what his neighborhood is like, and that leads to a which one is that? Psychological or physiological?
Philosophical.
Philosophical question.
Neither.
Philosophical question. Why do I care what the place is like when he's ignoring it? The description has absolutely nothing to do with the problem he's trying to solve. I'm again going to defend Teenage Maddie. The reason I describe is that is why he's running.
No, we established. His first critique.
No, he is right.
Well, I mean, he is right. You do go.
He is right.
Ricky's a lone wolf, and he lives in the bad part of town, and that's not good writing.
I'm not saying I'm Michelangelo of writing. Who's a Michelangelo of writing? Jesus?
Shakespeare.
No, I was kidding.
There's such an easy. Jesus didn't write any of the Bible. It was his friends.
That's the joke. It's not like I'm Shakespeare here, but like a lot of it is just like kind of it's kind of simple, you know.
You see, Maddie was a simple Arizona girl. She'd never been out in the greater world.
Yeah, no,
All
I
she knew
didn't
was
have good
sunburn
schooling.
and bad, like these little boars that come up and try to eat you.
Yeah, javelinas. You feed them bananas and then they'll never go away.
I cannot believe that's a real thing.
Anyways, okay, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. It is not your story, it is his. So the moment you drive him around like a game piece, he loses all feeling of reality.
Wait, I have the little popsicle stick. Oh my gosh.
It's not a matter of good or bad writing, mistakes, or talent. It's that you're missing the specialized knowledge of a fiction writer and fall back on the writing skills we all learn in school.
Okay, like I said, he's making good points.
He's not
incorrect.
He's not
He's just decided that he's the Jesus of Shakespeare.
Hi, I'm the Jesus of Shakespeare. Would you like to read my book, Hamlet Bible?
Oh my gosh. But there we only learn general skills. And we don't learn fiction writing skills by reading because we see only the finished and polished product. And what we need is the process. We need to know the 3 things a reader expects to learn quickly. Without taking them into account, the words will lack context. We need to know why a scene goal is a necessity and how to manage one. We need to know the present and how to present a strong viewpoint and structure of a scene and how to end one. And you need to know how to be so not long-winded.
Yeah, be
oh
concise.
My gosh.
There's something he's saying so much and yet so little.
He's basically saying I have the skills of a high schooler, which is true. I was a high schooler.
That is the thing. He's like, you're writing like you only learned how to write in high school.
And I'm like, yeah, man, I am in high school.
The solution is simple, though not easy. Simple because it means adding a few of the techniques the pros like me take for granted to your present skill set. I added like me, but not easy though, because to make those techniques feel as natural and intuitive as the ones you perfected in the years of school will not be any easier than it was perfecting them. It will take study, thought, and practice. But if it was easy, we'd all be famous writers. And in the end, doesn't your story deserve the best possible telling? I don't think it does. It's Outsiders fanfic.
It's Outsiders fanfiction.
Which is already...
Oh, get your head out of the paint, but...
Dog eating paint.
Dog eating
paint.
Just
A brief interlude, because the dog's eating paint.
Just a little puppy
Dog
dog.
eating paint.
Bark,
The
bark,
dog's
bark,
eating
bark.
paint.
Bark,
He's
bark,
a
bark,
mess.
bark,
The
bark,
dog's
bark,
eating
bark, bark.
paint.
Okay, so essentially he's saying I need to go back to school and I need to, reread my things.
You do need more study and thought, but this is practice.
So keep writing, of course, but at the same time, set some time aside to acquire the necessary professional tricks and knowledge.
You might poke around in the articles in my writing blog. They're meant for the newer writer.
Bitch!
And I would suggest, so he knows you're a newer writer.
Yeah.
And like, sure. But that's the thing. He just addressed he knows you're a newer writer.
No, he didn't say he knew. He's making a dig at me, saying
Well, he's making an inference. Like, I don't think it's malicious, but it feels like there's some level of malice.
Yeah, there's definitely malice here.
And I would suggest you pick up a copy of Deborah Dixon's GMC, Goal, Motivation, and Conflict. It's a warm and easy read, and if you take your time, you stupid little bitch. Wait, no. It's a warm and easy read, and will, if you take your time and allow plenty of time to think about and practice what she tells you.
He's inferring that I'm, like, lesser. He's like, it's an easy read, and if you take your time, you'll understand it.
Well, you see, not everyone is as genius as JG.
Sorry my news wasn't better. Hang in there and keep writing.
Then he links his WordPress, which we will get to.
Yeah, and then I make a comment. I comment to him and I say, thank you for pointing these things out. I reread my chapter and understood what you mean. I love to write, but I'm pretty new and miss a bunch of detail and I'm never sure what is important. Everyone needs critiquing. Thank you again. And that's like,
a good response.
That's a good response.
You misspelled words.
Are you serious?
And, but I am pretty new and miss a bunch of detail. You missed a D. So,
and then he responds with
JG
another
adds
essay.
5 more paragraphs.
Is it really fun? Oh my
1,
gosh.
2, 3, 4. Micah can't count.
Okay.
And here's really where JG really becomes unlikable. Would you build a house, knowing only what the shop classes you may have taken in high school? Would you try to work in any profession without learning what the pros and the customers favor? Of course not. It makes us
Can I cut you off right?
cut me
no,
off,
I'm not cutting you.
Cut me off.
I'm cutting JG off real quick. Yes, I would do all of those things because you never know until you freaking try.
Also, that's practice.
Yeah, it's practice. Like, here's the thing. I wouldn't.
Like in your response, you say, "Oh, thanks for pointing that out. I reread my chapter and understand what you mean." This is what your voice sounds like at the age of 15. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would try and build a house after, like, learning what I did in my
house, like a box.
I would know.
This is the box of storytelling.
Anyways,
But
continue.
JG says, of course not. It makes as much sense to look into the tricks of learning the trade of our profession. It's not her profession. Might be your profession, and it's cool that you make money that way. Of course not! It makes as much sense to look into the tricks of the trade of our profession. Learning the basics of writing for the printed word isn't all that hard. Though, doing it well, that's another story.
It's
the
Writer's
internet word.
Cafe.
It's Writer's Cafe.
It's Writer's Cafe. At the moment, you have the story, the desire, and the
Perseverance.
But we're not taught the tricks of the profession in our school days. Wait, so he thinks I'm older?
There's no way for him to know how old you are. But also...
What if I comment now? Dude, I'm 15.
Well, you're definitely not anymore. Saying you're 15 would mean when you wrote this you were 10, which would be impressive. Well...
And... No more learn. Okay, and
no more learn them.
Then by reading the finished product, then we become screenwriters by watching TV. What? Oh.
He's saying that you
I
don't.
think I disagree. Isn't watching like certain TV shows help you derive your sense of humor and sense of
it certainly
writing?
helps. But I get. That's the thing. This whole time, I get what he's saying. He's just being such a dick about it.
I don't know, man.
And if he was even like a brief dick, I could phrase this better. If he was brief in it, if he was like, this isn't very good, I don't like it, I would recommend you have some problems with pacing, which
I
true.
do.
She does. Maddie's bad at pacing in this.
I-
In her new work,
yeah.
she's an amazing writer, and you
I'm
should
an
check her out
amazing
at
I don't have any of my work up for
She doesn't
sale.
have any of her work published or out for sale. So take a look at that book I suggested. It has everything you need to give good, solid direction to your writing. It won't make you a published writer. That's your job. But it will give you the tools you need if it's in you to get there. What do you want, JG?
Do you want
Where is she supposed to learn that? If you learn writing from all this...
What's the difference from learning from a book versus learning from TV?
Experience. Well, that's the thing. You know, to be fair, the book he's saying is a guide, but hell, so many animators. Their stories are, oh, back in the day I saw Nickelodeon, and their little How It's Made or Disney How It's Made.
Yeah.
That's every animator story. Not that I'm just crapping on JG because it's fun.
But
Insert
like,
photo
how
of
is
JG.
learning from a book any different than learning from, YouTube or TV?
No, YouTube was around 5 years ago. What am I talking about?
YouTube has been around for a minute. YouTube was
But
popular 5 years
it's like,
ago.
here's how you do this, and here's how you do this. But publishing your book, that's on you to figure out. You have to do all this crap to get the book written, but little old 15-year-old Maddie, little baby Maddie, gotta figure out.
To be fair, I still have not figured out how to successfully publish works.
That is true. If only he had told you.
If only this is on you, JG.
You would have had comics out. You would have had books out. Maddie would have been the new J.R.R. Rowling, man.
J.R.R. Rowling.
Yeah, she wrote the book.
Wait, who's the one who did Goosebumps? That's the one I want to be like.
R.L. Stein.
I want to be like R.L. Stein.
That's one cool motherfucker.
Scaring children, having a dog that goes bark, 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 bark. There's another book, too.
There's only 2. There's 2 books. Everything else is on writerscafe.org. There's another book, too. Dwight Swain's Techniques of the Selling Writer is the best I've found. So good I recommend it second. It's a bit of a drier read, though, than Deb's book. You might try Swain's audio boil down of his workshops in writing and characterization.
Again, just totally is saying that I can't read.
Yeah, I bet he can't read.
Well,
he's not wrong! You might try Swain's audio boil down of his workshops in writing and characterization. They're cheap and worth the money for the asides on publishers and writing.
Here's another thing. I'm cutting you off again. I know, I'm cutting you off again. It's like, it's worth the money. YouTube is free, my guy.
YouTube is free.
YouTube is free. Was it great in 2012? No, there was slime and cupcakes, but it was free.
Anyone posting on Writers Cafe isn't in a good financial position.
I will say, yes.
I was... Yeah.
Wait. What? Wait.
I was moved several times during the thing to mutter, "The man's a damn genius!" So I'd recommend them to anyone who wants to be a writer. This has been JG and my diatribe on how to be a writer. As you may remember, our good friend JG, he linked his WordPress. As we were browsing his wonderful website, we found a good old...
It's mermaid pornography.
Yeah, we found mermaid porn. JG writes mermaid porn.
JG writes...
So now I'm going to read you a section of JG's writing. Anne's problems have multiplied. When David Nan lifts her onto his boat to protect her from a shark, her legs return, and she finds herself in the arms of the most attractive man she's ever encountered. Now, if only her clothing had reappeared along with her legs, it's enough to make a worm mermaid dive back into the ocean. Now, it only just occurred to me, when I read this for the first time, I thought he meant a were, because she were a mermaid. Is she a werewolf mermaid?
I'm not, okay, to be fair...
It's mermaid porn! JG writes mermaid porn.
It's mermaid porn, but it is very well written.
I mean, it's
in
very
comparison
eloquent. They're still shitty romance novels.
Okay.
In conclusion.
If you want mermaid porn, go, okay, I will say...
Shouldn't dox him.
I'm not gonna, to be fair, his work was a lot better than mine at the time, but that's because I was a child.
Right. And is it better than her work currently?
I mean,
I would say it's maybe even equal.
No, I don't do mermaid porn, I do werewolf porn.
So
you got me. I will say, his stuff is... It is published.
He is very clearly a intelligent man who writes well. He is clearly a well-educated man who writes very eloquently and has published many books.
Yeah.
He also comments 80 million paragraph essays on young girls' writerscafe.org accounts. And for that, he deserves a little bit of scorn, but no one Google him.
Honestly, JG, you're a person. You're a real one, and I might not like how real you are sometimes.
JG, you're a fucking hero. You're the writer America needs. We need you to come out with a new strain of mermaid porn that really speaks to the issues. And on that note, Good night, USA. This has been Maddie and Micah, the power duo of the century.
Wow.
Check out next time for
Chapter
chapter 2
two
of
of
the hit story.
The story with no name.
The story with no name.
I'm just gonna say, it's not me being edgy, it's me being too stupid to come up with a name for a stupid greaser novel. Even I knew it was bad at the time.
Also, as we're doing this outro, I realized JG has Calvin and Hobbes rerun comics on his website, and that's actually pretty fucking cool.
Anyway, yeah.
Good night, America.
Good night.